We're live, so welcome back to the Millennial Podcast. This is Martin, and this is Justin. And then we have a good topic for you tonight. We'll get right to it. So we'll give a bit of background, more of sharing, storytelling. Pero this is the topic: why 30-year-old Filipinos still live with their parents. So we'll get into it. Justin can also share, but I'll add some visuals here lang for reference, no? Let me know if you see it.
Yep, I can see it.
So Justin sent me this message last month, so Feb 16. So what is this? Why 30-year-old Filipinos still live with their parents? The cultural roots of Filipino multi-generational homes. So why is this relevant? In the US, you usually leave at 18, but
Right.
here, even if you're 20, 30, 40, ganon, sometimes older, you see them. People are still living with their parents. No? So, Justin, do you want to start? Because we're both millennials. You sent this. The youngest millennials are going to reach 30 this year, 2026. I'm going to turn 39. How about you, Justin?
I'm turning 29 on May.
29.
So we're
Okay.
really borderline of Gen Z.
So, this one encompasses a lot of people. Again, I'm turning 39, Justin's turning 29. Some of you can still relate to this also as well. So we'll dive into the topic. So Justin shared this, super interesting. I never talked about this with anyone yet openly. So let's do this now. No? So Justin, what are your thoughts on this topic? Because some people watching, they might feel ashamed if you're exposed to Western culture. English was like the primary, I wouldn't say first language, because here, if you have a helper, kasambahay, you go to school, there's a driver or security guard, you have to speak Tagalog or Filipino as your first language, right? But we're also very Asian culture influenced. So I'm curious, Justin, what are your thoughts on this topic of 30 years old still living with the parents?
Alright, thank you, Martin. Number one, I am currently also, just to share with everyone so much again, to share with you, Martin. I'm also a 29-year-old living with my parents, and I'm proud of it. Number one,
Oh,
number one, precisely because I put it into a mindset is that number one, I'm single. I don't have a family yet, and um, I don't have plans on settling down, and I don't see it yet in my vision, at least for the next 3 to 5 years, to be completely honest. And number two, I put it into a perspective as someone who grew up privileged, someone who has witnessed the hard work of my parents providing me quality education, growing up. Um, it's Although I did grow up privileged, pero yung parents ko, they really also, they built they worked hard together in order to give us, their children, quality life. So for me, like a 29 or 30-year-old live with my parents, although I still live with them, I contribute significantly naman, number one, in the household. And since I still live under one roof with my parents, is that um, aside from contributing significantly with their that could be in household, I still abide to the rules because we still have house rules to abide. For example, wait, 29 na ako, Martin, but I have to be home by 12.
so the curfew gets, yeah.
Yeah, there's still curfew. I mean, there's still house rules that we adults have to follow, and I really do respect that. And those are the boundaries that my parents set to me, even if you're still living with us, so we have to follow our rules, and those are the agreements that I have to make with my parents. So number one, I'm proud of it. Number two, as someone who who lives with their parents, I contribute significantly inside the house. Number three is that although there are boundaries, there are still set of rules that I have to follow, and I don't have to violently react to it, but more importantly, it's really a discipline because by the time feeling ko nga Martin, this is my opinion lang. What if there will come a time, okay, I decided I want to settle on my own. Ganun. These are the rules that I will find. Alam mo yon, sometimes gusto ko may like you have people inside the house na pinagsasabihan ka because that's my one
Mm.
form of love language. For example, oh, you're late, or ano tawag dito, oh, hindi ka naglinis dito, hindi ka naglaba, mga ganun. Oy, magbayad ka naman ng part of ng kuryente, mga ganun. Maybe I'm used to that type of upbringing that you being in a family, it's more of a teamwork part. So I could not even, and that's what limits me to even settle of my own. Okay, I don't have plans of marrying yet, di ba? Paano kung mag-isa na ako or may sarili na akong partner, di ba? Walang mas nakakatanda sa akin to guide me. And there's no blueprint pa to live on
Yes.
yourself, di ba? There's no blueprint. You have to adulting things which are really challenging. So yes, I'm proud of it for as long as I have my parents and at the same time I abide to the rules.
Okay. So we'll also flow into that what Justin shared because uh Justin also contributes. So he's proud. Ako I'll share lang a bit of background. This is the post rin that you sent me from Instagram, Justin. So I'll read this out for those having a hard time seeing it on the live or the replay. So multi-generational homes, this is from the post, they act as economic support, no, safety nets. So people who may not know, like international viewers, the Philippines is still considered a third world country. So it's not like the US, no, first world country. Here in Asia, Japan, Singapore, or the Asia Pacific, that's Australia, yung ganun. Those are the first world countries. So the poorer you are, based on this post, the less choices you have. That's why we see a lot of Filipinos very, living with a family pa rin, their parents, ganun. So we'll also get to what Justin shared. No? So this is where I want to share naman, Justin. When you say you're proud, which is really good, I started feeling lost or confused. So why? So part of it is this. When you stay at home, the society, they see that as honoring your parents. They have terms for that pa, filial piety, right? So it's like honoring your parents, no? Indigenous values, the Catholic teaching, so like Roman Catholic, the religion predominant in the Philippines. And then if you leave them, then it's like abandoning them. So caring for your elders is a moral duty in our culture. So this is even like the lolo or lola who's crossing the road, like the old person. So you help them. So this is why I'm confused a bit because Western culture, it highly encourages independence, which is what Justin was sharing kanina. But the way they treat the elders in the US is they use nursing homes or homes for the elderly because their system, the elder care, they have it, they can provide for that in their final years. Here in the Philippines, it's not as common. I have been to some, like in Antipolo or Rizal, but it's not as common as the ones in the US. No? So for Justin, I don't know if this applies to you. I'm a little older. Children feel an obligation to take care of their parents. They call that utang na loob. Because of all the years that they provided, they took care of you. It's like you have to give back. And for Justin, it says here, they contribute majority of their salary. to the household funds. Is this true for you, Justin?
Um, it's not true for me because my way of contribution is um, more of like an initiative, not on an obligatory part. So,
Okay, okay.
yes, for example, okay, I'll take care of the electrical bill for this month because I have extra, something like
Mm.
that. Yeah, oo. But of course, my parents also naman are not getting any younger. So, minsan nagpaparinig na sila, oh, dapat pagdating namin, pag-retire namin, kayo na bahala sa ganito. They're also, nagpapahapyaw sila na, ay, okay, I think I need to, ano tawag dito, I need to really contribute na something, not more on an initiative way, but more of like, since nga I'm still living under their roof, it really should be not really an obligation, but it should be part of our budgeting. Kasi when you
Okay.
feel like an obligation for me is I'm being reminded by my parents, oh, ikaw dito, ikaw dito, ikaw dito. But for me, it as a panganay, I'm a panganay kasi Mark.
Okay, yeah. You're the
It
firstborn, even
yes,
leader. Oh.
a leader. I think my part of being a panganay is I have to also voice it out to my siblings because I also have two more siblings who's living under the well, other one is employed already, the other one's a student. But anyone who is generating income has to really contribute. So I have a big role on that part.
Okay, so you contribute part of your salary or income. For some, this is not your case. They
Mm-hmm.
even contribute majority.
Majority.
So the utang na loob meaning from Filipino, the Tagalog meaning is they have like this debt, right? It's like I owe my parents because they provided for everything when I grew up like that. So that's the culture here in the Philippines.
And I think it's a current dilemma also.
Yes, so this is the next slide or in the post that Justin shared with me. The dilemma is in the US, they prioritize independence, individual independence. So that can be a good thing. Now, the flip side is it can lead to social isolation of the elderly, meaning they'll just leave their parents all alone in the house. They call that empty nester. So they have no kids anymore. Now, the Philippines, they run on a different model or culture where the family, they like staying together because it serves as a safety net. They take care of each other. So that's very good. Like you see other cultures like Mexicans, here in Asia, like the different Asian cultures, Indonesia, Thailand, what else? Diba? Parang it's the Chinese. They like staying together because they take care of each other. So it also has a good side. Now the dilemma that Justin is sharing is what's the flip side of independence? So it can isolate you or sometimes no, it can lead to someone na I don't care about anyone. I only care about myself. So that's the unhealthy, distorted version of that. And then the Philippine one, where everyone, the family stays together. I only learned this term more recently. It can also lead naman to codependence, meaning I have to rely on someone like my family. And if they're gone, then I cannot live without them. So kawawa na lang. 'Di ba? Like they have no one to take care of them. And they can't even take care of themselves. So that's also not healthy. It's a little distorted naman also. So that's the dilemma that Justin was talking about. So I think this is one of the last slides. If you do it right, the family can be a system of mutual support and love. So if it's built on gratitude, it helps a lot with the survival of the family, of the person, ganun. And then independence, this is the dilemma naman that I agree with Justin. It's a little delayed kasi we're still living with our parents, our family. What if one day we have to live on our own, or we have kids, we have our own family, whatever, adopted, whatever your setup is like that? How can you learn to be independent and take care of your own? So I'll share one last slide here because this is actually from, I'll share, Justin may know this in our industry. So this one is from another podcast actually by Grand Tag. Grand Tag SG is based in Singapore. So this is another Asian country nearby. Singapore is a first world country though. So even there, they also still have that similar culture. So they call it, I'll read one of the hashtags here, intergenerational. So intergenerational wealth, or it said there, multi-generation family homes. So have you ever seen, Justin, like a house wherein there's the it's not just parents and us, no. It's actually like yung grandparent, the kids our age, and then there are even grandkids
Yeah.
living in the house or a compound. It's like a compound, multiple houses na ganun. So, have you ever seen that here in our country?
Yes. Actually, I have clients also who are in that setting.
Yes. So, if people are shocked and they're like, "Oh, is there like that?" I don't just mean like there's a person I met na Chinese family, Chinese
Mhm.
Filipino, but again, no, multi generational. So the parents, the person I met, they have siblings, and even if they do have kids or the grandkids, they also live in the same compound of that family, you know. So it's not limited to Asian. Why? So quick sharing, I'll go back to Justin after this. 2010, I flew to Canada, Toronto, Canada area. First time I got to visit my grandma before she passed away. There was an Italian guy I met who was a friend of my uncle. He took me to this shotgun range, 'di ba? Parang it's the culture there. I met that Italian guy's son who was around my age. I was in my 20s that time. So he was around my age or younger. And that Italian guy, the friend of my uncle, was living with his mother in that house. So what I'm saying is it's not limited to us, Filipino, Asian. In the West, Canada, other countries, Italians, they're very family oriented also. Maybe your culture is similar as well. No? So what this
Good to
means,
know.
it's not correct, Justin. No? You're saying
And I said it's a good to know. I didn't know that too.
I,
No,
I
it's
didn't know that too in 2010. I thought it was just us here in
Mhm.
the Philippines or in Asia. So the Italians, they do that in Canada for similar reasons, which we just discovered. Because if the poverty, the support is needed, they take care of each other economically. So financially, uh, the Italians, when they went to Canada or to the US, they were migrants. Like they call that like fresh off the boat. You know, they were trying to look for a better life like that. So here, it doesn't have to apply to the Philippines, like a third world country only, as seen in this podcast. So Grand Tag is a partner of the Wealth Management Center. That's where I got my certified wealth planner training, deals with estate planning. So this is why the topic connected to this. No? So I'll stop this screen sharing first so we can go back to us na lang talking on the topic. So this. Boom. Ito. There we go. So on the topic of why 30-year-old Filipinos still live with their parents, Justin, you said you feel proud. Ako, I felt a little from that. I was like, I don't know what to think. Wait, I'm confused because of Western culture. They want me to be independent like that. And then now we have a better understanding of why. So do you feel there's like a balance, or do you feel like there's a better way, or do we just live with our parents until we die?
Good question, Martin.
Mm-hmm.
I think it to answer your question, I think it really depends on the situation of
Okay.
every household. And to segmentize your answer, that will really depend on there are two aspects. For me, number one, I think social class is a big factor here. And number two, regardless of the social class, it will be the mindset of the 30-year-old and above to um, to decide or to have their free will if should they stay to live with their parents under 30. So here's my 2 cents on it. Let's say on a setting, um, let's make it, let's say you're in like a lower middle class type of setting and you're a 30-year-old living with your parents. So it depends on the 30-year-old on their current situation. It's on their hands. Should they have a choice if they will still live with their parents for as long as they will contribute significantly more. Siguro grind harder kung nakikita niya kaya niyang mas lakihan yung income ng parents niya if their parents are still working or not. Then, there come a time, I think I'll use, siguro, let's use a real life situation. If you know who Mimiya is, yung
Who's
YouTuber.
this? Sorry.
Mimiya. Mimiya
Okay.
is okay. YouTube. She was a YouTuber back in 2019. I think student back then siya or ano. But
Okay.
I think this is something that we can draw inspiration from. Kasi yung proceeds niya in ano tawag dito, in earning YouTube, it flipped. So okay siya, she was living under the roof of her parents. Binaliktad niya kasi. So,
Ah,
siya yung nagbigay ng ultimate lifestyle that the parents never had when they were
yes.
still striving. So, it flipped. It was, since siya yung breadwinner, siya yung nagbigay, it flipped na on the ano. So, yung utang na loob, going back to the ano, I think will transpose the term utang na loob. I think the generation now is more on giving back than utang na loob.
Mm.
Because utang na loob feels so obligatory that you have to give back.
Yes. Yeah.
But giving back is more on you knew the sacrifices that your family or your parents did for you. That you are just naturally grinding that you have to give back. You don't feel like you're obligated. Kasi when you're obligated, parang sometimes we have our own, timeline in achieving success. Diba? So, what if our success is, it really takes time. It will not be in a snap of a finger, right? So, on that situation, I think the 30-year-old, be it regardless of social class, should grind. You may want to give back, or you may contribute. You can go out of your parents' house but still grind and earn as much as your parents does, di ba? Higitan mo sila and then you can live on your own roof or still help them in some other way. So it's really situational. And to answer your question, Martin, it depends on the 30-year-old and above who's living. Nasa kamay nila. Because
Mm.
at the same time, this is my opinion also. Even my parents always tell me this, Justin, walang iyo. Gagastusin namin yung pera namin. So, yeah, you make your own. So even that's my parents always instilled to me. So it's really on our hands. We're just privileged that we're living under our parents' roof, but we still make our own fortune.
Okay. I'll recap or repeat what Justin shared because it was really good. No? So the first is social class, and then I'll go through it. There were three he mentioned. So social class, the way I understand what Justin shared was it depends. No? So it doesn't mean that just because you're from like a poor middle class or rich, no. Kasi Mimi, yung 2019, she was a student, no?
In Benil, I think parang graduate siya if just to
So she wasn't even like full-time working yet. So the younger generation, because there are cases of that, they hit it big in YouTube. Now it's
Right.
like TikTok, or they become an influencer. They
Right.
earn, they're not from a well-off family,
Right.
and then they earn a lot of money to even
Right.
give their parents their dream life like that. So you can come off from like a poor or not well-off family and flip it and get a good life, no? And then people from the middle class, it's I think a lot of them na nga, and even the rich, they would live with their parents. And I see this pattern, no? They call it like the golden handcuffs. So it's like the parents provide a good life for them, but they cannot escape, because if they run away from that, the golden handcuffs, the real world is harsh. So they won't get allowance. What I mean by that, I attended this money seminar by like Ken Honda. It was like a Sunday. And then this Chinese Filipino girl, she was getting a salary from her Chinese parent or uncle, something like that. And you know what that means, diba? This is not to judge or anything, but it's like whether she works or not, she has a salary or something like that, no? So if you don't want to use the term allowance, whatever your situation is, and it can be very significant, no? Parang 5, 6 digits a month, ganun. So whatever your situation is, sometimes you're tempted na nga to still live with your parents, the richer they are. But as Justin mentioned na nga, the second point was it's your free will. Eh. So I like that versus obligation instead of utang na loob, like you're forced. The way I would say it is you feel forced to do it. It's heavy. If you do it by free will, then it's your choice. It actually feels more like giving back. It's not forced, but it's like I just know this is the right thing to do. I actually feel better if I just chose to do this instead. No? Then the third one I think you mentioned was, what was that again, Justin? On the situation of the person, or
The situation of the person when it comes to
like you
um
said, your parents said like nothing is yours, so I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to get my own.
uh, can I dig deep on that? Because
Yeah, yeah.
my parents always instill that the money that they earn is for themselves, not
Okay.
for us, their children. Considering because they still live under their roof, so there is a boundary between don't don't simply rely on the resources that we have. Because our setting here in the house, yes, we live under our parents, but for example, we go out, we still split the bill, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For example, you want a car. No, will not give you that car. You work for hard. You should work for hard for that car. Will not give you your car. So there's a boundary that everything has all of the fortunes or all of your dreams, goals, and aspirations should be worked by you, not by your parents. So it's just a privilege for you to live under our roof. But anything that you like, you aspire, na what you have, that could be, especially the material things, it would be provided by us ourselves.
Okay, so that's clarified now. So what Justin shared on the third one on your situation is, I see that more as like a level of independence and maturity. So let's say even if you're given allowance as a kid, that's very mature for the parent to say what we earn is for them. Do not expect that your parents' money is your money.
Right.
That's very mature and grounded. So when I wanted to buy something, I had to save up for it. So when I was younger, I think when I reached legal age, because I bought a gun. I was into guns. And I had to do that on my own. No? Parang my dad was into other things like golf. Diba? I didn't know my mom's side had that blood na my uncle in Canada. So I had to use my own money to buy that, my savings. And then in 2014, the first motorcycle I bought, yung big bike,
Mhm.
150,000. I was saving my salary from my first job 2011 to 14, 3 years.
Mhm.
And I know that 150,000 kasi that's all I could afford. Yan lang yung budget ko. If I had more money, I would have bought a better motorcycle. It's just plain and simple, no? So I had to use my own money. Diba? I can't just like get my parents' money and say buy me a motorcycle, diba? And there this is not to judge, Justin. There are some other families and people na parang if they want something, point at it. And if
Right,
it's not their parent, they'll go to their grandparent,
right.
'di ba? If they're Chinese, their angkong, their I don't know the grandmother side if they're the ones who have the money. So they get it, 'di ba? So it's not again to judge, no, it's just what your situation is for the third level. But Justin shared a very independent, mature, and grounded perspective, no? Kasi I agree with that. Kasi what if our parents aren't here anymore? Then who will teach us how to buy
Right.
what we want and what we need for ourselves versus they're not there anymore, what will I do? Diba? So the next question here on living with our parents is, do you see yourself in your 30s? Ako, I'm approaching my 40s. Keep living with the parents as they get in their 60s, 70s, 80s na, diba? Their twilight years, their final years. Do you see that? Or do you see moving out, living on your own, and then maybe coming back to them na lang every now and then?
That's a good question, Martin. And I have already thought of this for a couple of times, given this
Okay.
situation. So I mentioned I'm a panganay, right?
Yeah.
So in the household that I'm currently living now, every time we guys talk about certain topics like this, even my siblings, we are all blunt. My brother's blunt, sabi niya, oh kuya, when do you plan to ano? When do you plan to ano? Ako gusto ko, I'll save up for my own condo. Gusto ko magka-condo kasi siya gusto niya magka-condo. My sister naman, she's also upfront. Oh, I don't want to ano. She keeps on joking. Sawa na ako sa bunganga ni mom. Mga ganun. But they're joking. But what they're trying to point out is they really have plans of settling on their own. But for me, sabi ko, hala, I'm the oldest, but not in my wildest dreams or in my mind that I'll be settling on my own. So, given that, and I to answer your question, Martin, I think the cultural aspect will fall down here because my mom is an Ilocano. And in
Mm-mm.
Ilocano, mahilig sila magsabay-sabay. When we say sabay-sabay, sabay-sabay kumain,
Mm.
sabay-sabay mag-shopping, sabay-sabay mag-grocery. And mag-aaway kami ng mom ko if there will be not really away but she really parang di rin tampo but she will look for me in every area, in every important decision that could be what, acquiring a new property, acquiring a new asset. I have to be present because I am a panganay nga. And I think I have a big role on that aspect, especially also on the business side, that I have to be present with my parents in the decisions that they're going to make. And given that situation, I think I am the only or the sole person or the sole sa magkakapatid that, okay, I think I really have a big role on this. So, why will I settle on my own? Why will I go to another far place where um, I have a room on the house of my parents. So I'm looking at that aspect, not because I want um, to be dependent on them, but it's more of a role. So if I could use, yes, I'm the kanang kamay of my mom. I'm going to use that situation. That's why I still wanted to stay, and my decision could change in the near future also if I want. But as of the moment, I think yes, maybe up until 40, I'll still live with my parents, and uh, yeah, that's how I could still see it in my vision.
Thank you, Justin. I mean, I appreciate it because it's very honest. It's your answer, you know, and you explained it. And my parents are already in their 70s, like 71, 72.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, how young are your parents, pa? Like
My,
younger.
my dad just turned 58. My mom's turning 54 this year.
So 58, 54, much younger. My parents are already in their 70s. So I'm also curious again as a 30 turning 39 this year. So how how millennials know how we will live with that relationship with our parents. I'm a middle child, so there are four of us, no. Kuya, ate, me, and then Bunso, the youngest, is a girl. So there are thoughts of for me, no, being independent for reasons stated earlier. And when I started taking the estate planning training as early as 2015, 2016, I was attending Attorney Cabrera's estate planning seminars. This is like in a hotel, like this half day event. I also started thinking, no, and then I shared my TLDR, too long didn't read life story with you. So I already came from a long, committed relationship of 9 years and didn't work out. So I'm learning to be open. But the thing is, I'm also just not eager to jump into some relationship. Depending, of course, on the maturity level and openness. Because I have batchmates who not just went in relationships, on marriages, and then they ended up getting separated, annulment. Some of them had kids also, so it's hard. It's hard on the kids as well. So the thing with the parents, how I'm seeing it is, I do want to learn how to be independent because what if they're not there anymore? Like, can I live on my own? It's like preparation. And people might say, your parents might live to 80 or longer. That's still a decade, 2 decades from now. That's true, pero when am I going to prepare? And if something happens suddenly, bigla lang, then too late the hero. Diba? I already started learning that 2015, 16, like a decade ago. So, like the best time to prepare is yesterday, diba? Today or 10 years ago. So that's just my perspective of it. If I do have to, I've lived with my parents like my whole life. So it's like if I do have to take care of them in some way, that's all I know. But the thing is, how can I take care of myself? So one thing I learned, I'll share here, is a lesson I learned is there are levels. Is I think it's like three. So the lowest level is codependence. So it's like I can't live without you. And then the next level is independence, which is you can live on your own. Pero the last level, there's actually a higher level than that called interdependence. So it means I can live on my own, but I choose to take care of you. So it's like a combination of like all. No? So that's what I want to reach also. No? Like I want to learn how to take care of myself. And then from the capacity or like the overflow, I can also take care of other people. Because I learned this in estate planning, and I can go back to you, Justin. Is there's this really ugly saying? Parang the saying is blood is thicker than water, and
Right,
we get it. That means family first, diba? Your bloodline, ganon.
right.
The second line is, but money is thicker than blood. Justin's laughing, and someone was saying, "Pangit, diba?" And I think it was the father of Attorney Cabrera who said that line. And
Mhm.
why it's so ugly and some will laugh is it's so disgusting, but it's true. It's half
It
true.
is.
So if ever you've seen families fight because of money, vendettas, because of land, diba? Like you see that you mentioned Ilocos, diba? So like even in vegan, like the Crisologos, all of that. families fighting for money and property. They started killing each other. And maybe it might be true in your country or in other places, no? So, yun, I also understand that harsh reality. I don't want it to be true, but that's just reality, diba? Like if I'm weak, I'm gonna get bullied. So I hate that, but I experience reality, diba? There are like unkind and evil people in the world, diba? I don't want that to be true, but it's reality. I learned that when I got into guns, diba? Like training, safety, firearms training, ganun. So, yun, when going back to the topic, that's my understanding of how I see my parents, how I'm learning to handle it for myself as a middle child or as a millennial. And then Justin's is very interesting to his perspective. So again, people watching the live or the replay, I'm curious because maybe your parents are teaching you to be independent early on, but they're also teaching you naman not to abandon your family when they're in need, which is also good, diba?
Right.
But I love this conversation because I never even had this conversation with my parents. They don't openly talk about this. They don't say like, "Son, one day we're going to die and I want you to do this or set up your life in a certain way so you can take care of yourself. And then once you can take care of yourself, then take care of your siblings, your family." I think the most I heard was from my dad. He's just like, take care of each other. But then he didn't say anything else other than that. So how can I take care of my family if I'm only earning 70,000 pesos a year? That was like my commissions for last year. Diba? So that's not even like how much is that, 5,000 pesos a month or something? So, it's hard, no. Now if you're doing well in life, then maybe you're more confident and capable. But even then, no, you hear of tragedies wherein the person gets a health scare, they lose their job, they lose their money. It will test your character. So, how will you take care of your family? Or will your family take care of you when that happens? No? So, these are the topics related to this. And a lot of people, I feel they don't really talk about it, whether there are clients, diba, or friends. So this one, at least if you're watching the live or the replay, maybe these are ideas or seeds like, hey, I wish somebody told me that or talked about this. Well, now you know. So,
Good
so
point.
any last thing you want to add, Justin, on the topic? Because we talked about as a millennial, a 30-year-old, if you still live with your parents, you feel proud. For me, I was a little confused, but now I understand better. How long will we live with them? You could live with them as long as it takes, diba? But there are some people who may want to learn how to be independent, diba? Not to abandon, pero it's like I want to learn how to take care of myself also because I want to live my life and I want to still be able to take care of my parents if I need to. Ganon. Is there anything else that you want to add on the topic? Because we already explained the situation of why Filipinos are this way as a third world country, the survival, the support system, the culture. Anything else you feel that millennials, it would be helpful for a millennial to know about living with our parents?
Mhm. Thank you, Martin. I think it will always boil down communication. Communication between you and your parents. So I'd like to share what we have kasi family planning and visioning. Our family, it's just um, us planning ahead for the year. So um, we had our family planning, and then I think my dad voiced out, especially for me and my brother who are currently generating income. He told us na, Justin, Vince, I'm getting old. I'll be retiring. My dad's 58. He's retiring in 2 years. And And once he retires, his income stops. So if and then he already bluntly said, if you guys are still planning to live here in our household, then I think it's time for really you. I think what he's trying to imply indirectly is that you have to really contribute already 100% in the household. That would be the expenses, bills, everything, renovation of the house, well, like that. What he's just fearing is that his income will stop, and of course, he wanted to enjoy his retirement years. So, given that he voiced out, I supported him, and at the same time, I told my brother, "Tara, let's earn as much as we can this year. Okay, we can do business, we can be employed, we can so that we can help." So there's communication. At least we heard it from our dad that
Yes.
we have to help him because he's retiring in 2 years. But if he's retiring in 2 years and then of course we're still living in his household, how can he can enjoy? Because we want him to enjoy his money as well. Okay, what does he do? What does he want to do with his money? Golf, pumunta ng Europe or whatever, magta-travel, spend all his money in what? The things that he has because he's work hard. Okay, let's acknowledge that our parents work hard and let us let them enjoy what they've worked hard for the past decades because we know that for the past decades they've been working for us, their children. So I think it's really important that we heard this from our dad that we have to at least contribute significantly to him, not just on the expenses part, but as simple as being a handyman at home. Diba? If there is like a broken electric fan, we'll do it for you because you can't do it already. It's not really just on the monetary thing. It's more on really, I think, if our parents are aging, you can have it also on a form of a bonding time. Okay, dad, tara, let's, ano tawag dito, a bonding tayo, labas tayo sa village or ano. Because you're living with your parents are still part of your errands. Your parents are still part of your lifestyle because you still live with them. And let's put it that on an advantage level because there are some children, okay, they're not living with their parents, they may be abroad or they may be in some, they may ibang setting, Martin, di ba? Their parents are in the provinces and the children are working in Manila, so they don't get the time to spend with their parents. And what is the core culture of our, the Filipino culture rather? It's family. So, we are at the 100% advantage that we get to spend time with our family. So, if that's a form of communication, you guys may plan on traveling, include your parents, habang kaya pa ng tuhod nila, di ba? Let's spend more time with them. And if you want to give back, then giving back is also spending time with them. So, again, communication. And number two, it's really more on do the things habang our parents are still alive. And if you don't have plan of settling on your own and still live with them. So that's my take on that.
Wow. That's a really good answer, no? And if anything, I'll just add to Justin's answer because to end it, a millennial might think, what should I do moving forward? No? So Justin gave the answer as someone who's turning 29, not this year, diba, Justin?
Yes.
When is that? Ako, I'm turning 39 April.
Oh, the following month ako. May.
Okay,
May.
so he's turning 29, I'm turning 39. So I'll just add to Justin's answer as someone 10 years ahead. No? So Justin, your dad is 58 and then he's retiring in 2 years no?
Right.
At 60. Because normally that's the retirement age. So I agree with number one, communication. So my dad, he retired around 60 or 65. He's already 71 already as of today. No? So when he like kind of retired and then he retired again, no, para at 65, he worked really hard. He was like from banking background, Citibank, and then he was like doing banking or financial services. He worked with the government, like the National Treasury, like that. So that's his background, na ganon, economics, banking, whatever. So he worked really hard. Like he broke his back, uh, he would go to work early, like 7:30 a.m. Then he would get home medyo late na rin. So he earned, but he also like sacrificed a lot, no? So you're right. Now with the communication, why I agree with Justin. It's only in the more recent years that we've been having those family planning, the term of Justin. I'll clarify that's like family meetings and
Right,
discussions.
family
You might
meeting.
think family planning is like pregnancy or having a
Ay,
kid, no?
no, that's just a portion of our family planning because there are travel plans for the year, travel plans for
Correct.
plans for, like, for example, or what do you want to do on your birthday, mga ganun. But I think that was the core of our communication in that planning. I think that was the highlight that my dad
Okay.
spoke out about that retiring.
Which is really good, open and mature. Because there are some parents who they have hiya, like they don't want to tell their kid, and then they'll just assume that they'll understand. I don't agree with that as the millennial or as the child. Because
So
when
in
we
my
get correct, when we get shocked, there are going to be unrealistic expectations, or there's this term I learned, covert contracts, parang undercover. Then they expect you to know this, like you will inherit a family business, but then you don't even want it. You don't understand it, you don't know how it works, etc. So communication, I totally agree, is better. It's better these years, but I only had those conversations with my dad when he was in his 60s na eh. So I remember the first time I really talked with my dad was like, I think he was in his 60s na. So take advantage of what Justin shared. I think also because my nephew and niece, his first grandkids, they were born 11 years ago in 2015. So he was around 60. I think that's the time when he was gonna do his first retirement. Then he worked again till 65. So parang bumait siya. So it might sound funny or like that, but like I was scared of my dad growing up. I couldn't talk to him. So I totally agree with Justin's yung open communication. And then I don't know if this will help, pero for Justin, when my dad retired, he kind of still works. So it's not the same. It's not as like intense, hard like that. But he does board seats. So if like you're a consultant or like parang you sit on a board, sometimes you do get paid. There are times you don't. You're just doing it like how we serve for luap, like that.
yeah, yeah.
But then if they actually do pay you a bit, it's not as much as your past work, your job when you're earning a lot. But it does keep him mentally sharp or busy. Because I'm just sharing this as a millennial 10 years ahead. I noticed this. One of my first bosses when I worked for the Air 21 group of companies, Mr. Bert Lina. So he just passed away last year. So God bless his soul. The way he kept sharp was he was mentally active, even in his 60s. So he would talk to everyone, from the janitor, the driver, all the way to the excom, presidents, the managers. So it kept his mind sharp all the time. If you don't do that and you just retire and then sleep on a hammock, that's the fastest way to get dementia, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yes.
Yeah, your body will degenerate physically. So when you see me walking or Justin running, it's not parang to be cool. Like I learned this. If you don't do that, your body will atrophy. Like it will get moldy, it will degenerate. Your brain, parang if you don't do these podcasts, you get mentally like it degrades.
Mm.
So I'm hopeful naman for your dad na parang he'll have something naman that will keep him busy and
Thank
maybe earn a
you.
bit on the side. Na
I'll
ganun.
let him watch this video.
Yun. And my dad's 71. He still drives to Makati, I think, on Monday
Nice.
and or Wednesdays. As long as you're capable. Like, if not, maybe you have a driver. The second thing you mentioned, aside from communication, so like the time with the parents, I agree. Yeah, like contributing is not just financially. So if like a family member needed a ride and I can drive because Justin can relate, instead of hiring a driver and paying the driver how much for the
Money.
day, 1,000, 2,000, part-time, or you hire a full-time driver, you can help them. And if you say, oh, but you're not contributing money, but you save them
Right.
2,000 pesos. So like, it's the same, 'di ba? Parang sometimes it's even more meaningful, 'di ba? So I totally agree with that. These meaningful moments with our parents and our family. And then did you mention a third one after the yung communication, time with the
No,
parents?
no, no, no. But maybe I can add
Yeah.
because even with my close circle, I noticed there's a lot still live with their parents because one of the major reasons you mentioned it also, Martin, is that they have to help their parents with the business of the parents, and
Okay.
it's more on that aspect that the parents are already passing the baton to the second generation or third generation. So that could be what, bakeries, security agency, ganon. And I get it why they choose to live with their parents because they're already exposed at a very young age, even when they're already college students. And I can also relate to that, Martin, because um, on my mom's side naman, she is my branch manager, okay, the insurance agency. Sabi niya,
Yes.
Justin, sa'yo na to, okay, you will be practice everything, ganon. And I can see that also on myself. So I'm not using the business advantage as an excuse to live with my parents, but let's go back to the aspect of spending time with your parents because if your parents are your mentors on the business side, then I think that is one advantage that you can get because you wake up in the morning, you guys talk about business. You eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you guys talk about business. So if you're away, I think that would be more challenging, but on the business side, it will definitely help
Okay. So I'll recap what Justin said because he added one more. So from communication, I agree with the meaningful time with parents. I would say that's a form of contribution because you don't have to just give financially. Like you can give your talent, your service. You can drive for them. You can do things, fix something in the house, but instead of spending, if you
you.
could help. The third one, I will use the term preparation. So
Right.
Justin was saying it's passing the baton of the family business or like the agency for his mom's life insurance work to him. So you have a choice. Now, the thing why preparation, I would like to use that term is if you don't want that, then how else can I prepare myself for to handle moving forward? So if I'm not going to take on the family business that was originated, like started by my dad or maybe your mom, diba? Then how can I prepare myself to have my own version, right? To set myself up financially or business wise, diba? Or career wise, or if you're gonna move out of the country, diba? Do you have a plan? Do you have like preparation? Do you have a place to live if you migrate to the US, diba? Like family or you, I don't know, you signed up for um a college, diba? An art college, tapos you natanggap ka, like you were accepted there. So that's part of preparation. Because it doesn't mean you have to follow the exact same footsteps of your parent. You could if that's what you wanted. Or combining all the lessons using communication, diba, all that, they can say, okay, if you don't want to do this, what can you do? And then are you going to be okay? So that's what I would share to a fellow millennial. Because if you don't have a plan, then and you don't also have the communication, and then you're not helping in the house in some way, diba? Not just financially, then I don't know how that's gonna work. That's gonna be a rough road. That's hard. No?
It is. So I
So
think again, communication, time with family, preparation. That's a good.
preparation.
That's a good three key points to remember.
Yun. So this is really good. So we're already approaching the 1 hour mark, and I already feel full with the topics discussed. So we started with why the Filipinos still live with their parents. It's mainly because of our culture situation, not just because. So there's obviously the poverty, the third world country situation. We use it as a safety net, economic shock absorber. So we take care of each other, but we also have different sides. You could feel proud about to live with your parents. If you were kind of confused or indifferent about it, I don't know what to feel about or don't think about it. I went through that. So at least now I have a better understanding of it. And then you can apply those tips. Highly recommend that the communication with your parents, even while they're young in their 50s. I had that later on. My parents are in their 70s now. You can also contribute meaningfully time with the parents financially. You could do that through driving. You save them money. You could help in the house fix things. Diba? You could do it through different ways. And then the third is preparation. I hope this whole podcast, even in the span of an hour, you got different ways how to prepare. Maybe it's the first time you heard of the term intergenerational or multi generation, not just as a home, but wealth, like the way to pass it on, pass it down, or even prepare for yourself independently. Or you go up a level interdependently. I can take care of myself, and I also choose to take care of others because I can. I'm capable. So thank you for this conversation, Justin. Like this topic of millennials. And maybe it applies to people who are younger, the Gen Z, the new ones upcoming, and maybe even the older Generation X or our parents, baby boomers, like that. Maybe it makes sense too when they'll say, "You're on to something." Thank you for sharing that. So thank you. Anything you want to add, Justin, before we
No,
sign out?
I just wanted to say I learned a lot from you as well. I mean, definitely, we had a great topic tonight.
And you had two different perspectives here. So Justin had a very different perspective, which I learned from, and then I had a different perspective too. And people watching the live also over here. So here you have a live viewer, Justin, si Vince.
Uy,
So
hello.
thank you for tuning in and commenting on the live. Even the ones watching the replay, you can comment below. Maybe your experience, your perspective is different. We can also learn from you. Any last words, Justin, before we end?
Um, Perhaps my last words will be: if you're living with your parents, let's help them. But the help will always be in a form of, because it's our parents. We love them. Help in form of love. That again, what Martin and I agreed upon is not necessarily financially. If you want to help your mom, cook for her. If you want to help your dad be a handyman, learn some handyman stuff like electrical stuff inside the house, or go bond with your dad, go change oil with your car. It has to be in a multiple, in a form of bonding, and it's really more on spending time with your family, because you have a choice to live with your parents. That could be in a time frame or forever. So let's spend more time with them.
Okay. I'll add on Justin because I also agree. It might sound like a different perspective. So I agree. My final thoughts on this is also help our parents. Now, the way I'll say it is we help our parents because they're not mind readers. So I learned this the hard way. They don't know our generation the same way as they know theirs. So if you want to be independent and it feels like they think you're a rebel, you're defying them, they're disrespecting them, especially for the Gen Z or the younger. Sometimes I can't relate, right? It's they're more direct or they're more outspoken. So be a little more patient. I get it, it's hard, no, but that's also part of helping our parents, no, because they don't know what you want. Let's say for your birthday gift, if you do that stuff, unless you tell them what you want, don't expect them to give you the birthday gift that you want, right? And even if you directly tell them, this is just us, the millennials, to our parents, sometimes they won't give you the gift that you stated exactly because they have a different understanding or a different language than us. So it'll take extra patience. No, so I saw that's a different article. They grew up with like authoritarian, I don't know, background parents. Us, the millennials, were kind of the bridge, so we're more understanding. Like we're more considerate of consent and the other person's perspective, like that. So it's challenging, but that's part of helping our parents also. And then lastly, for the millennials who feel lost, sometimes it does feel hard. Like you walk a lonely road. You could watch this podcast. If a lot of people don't agree with you when you share it with them, you're not alone. Because I've been trying to share this with my parents for years, and I sometimes feel like the weird one or the black sheep. It's like Justin can relate because we're both in life insurance, but I'm the one telling my parents, Dad, Mom, if I die, like I'm preparing for my death already. And I'm the son telling my parents, like my father, that. Baliktad eh. Like my parents aren't telling me that. It's like why does the child have to be the one to prepare the parents for their death, diba? It doesn't make sense. If you're confused, if you feel life is unfair, you don't get it. I can relate. So, but that's part of helping our parents. So you're not alone. That's why you heard it here in the podcast.
Right.
So I just wanted to add to Justin. So are you good, Justin?
I'm
Or
good. I
you
like
good?
your last thought. Definitely agree.
So you got different perspectives. So you take the one that works for you. Thank you. We love you, and we will see you next time.